Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TCT podcast here on YouTube. My name is Gavin Campbell. Alongside me, as always, my good friends Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. Today on the rundown, we got some MLB trades, as well as some MLB that we always seem to finish up with. Cale, go ahead and take it away.
All right, guys, let's get into it here. First topic of the day, DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard, flip-flop teams. You got Kawhi going to Toronto, DeMar going to San Antonio. Gavin, DeMar's your boy. What do you think?
Let me tell you what. This is probably going to take me a minute, so let me go ahead and get it all out. First of all, I want to say that I'm very, very upset with the Raptors organization and the way that they handled this. Our general manager, Masai Ujiri, I've said nothing but great things about you in the past. You've been a great general manager to our team. You did great things in Denver when you were there with the Carmelo situation and how you were able to handle that. But let me say this: you don't lie to players, okay? When you tell DeMar that he will not be traded a couple days ago, and then what do? You go out and trade him.
That's
okay?
the thing that drove me nuts.
That gets under my skin more than anything. And to say to your star, because he was a star of that team until Kawhi is there now, obviously, it really blows my mind. I know that he had struggled in the past, but this was your year to not play LeBron James in the Eastern Conference. This was your opportunity to possibly be the true best team in the Eastern Conference, because we know it doesn't matter what seed LeBron gets in the playoffs. Whatever team LeBron is on in the East, he is the best team. And that's the way it's been for the last forever, really, as far as I can remember, since he lost to San Antonio in the finals. Now, with that said, the Kawhi Leonard situation, I'm not comfortable with us trading for. Now, granted, he's a superstar. This is a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, two-time All-Star, Finals MVP. He's won a championship. Great experience for this team. We've never had this caliber player on our team before, so this is a first for the franchise. Being in the Eastern Conference, this could be a team that is able to make it to the finals. Granted, they're going to lose to either Houston, Golden State, whoever comes out of the West. That they will lose. But the Raptors have never been to the championship before. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals once back in 2016, but they've never won. They've never had an opportunity to play for the chip, right? So this could be an opportunity for him to come in if he's willing to play. This is where it gets fuzzy, because we know that he had his stint with San Antonio with his injury, his quadricep injury, and then his thigh injury back to back. And he chose to sat out even though the Spurs medical staff cleared him to play. And then he went and sought second, third, fourth, fifth opinions elsewhere in New York and other surrounding places. And he just chose to sit out. He got called out by his teammates, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, which you have to think, were these really coming from those guys, right? Did they really want to voice their concerns in this manner, or did it come from somewhere else? Did it come from the Spurs front office? Did it come from Coach Popovich? Because Coach Pop, he came out and said, when reporters were asking, where's Kawhi? When is he going to come back? And he said, well, why don't you go ask Kawhi? Why don't you go ask his people? And you can't have that kind of dysfunction. And we don't expect to see that ever from the Spurs organization, being who they are. They're the model franchise for anyone in the NBA, really for sports. The way that they run things there is so classy, But overall, I'm very upset with this. Hopefully Leonard can come around and just be open up to the idea of playing for the Raptors for at least one season. I can't imagine that he would sit out again. All of these reports saying, could he possibly sit out for a second straight season? First of all, the collective bargaining agreement comes into play. He's going to get fined. He's going to get suspended. He's already lost close to $100 million not taking the Supermax with San Antonio. And on top of that, you don't want to ruin your own reputation. Everyone loved Kawhi before this whole situation. He was a universally loved player. And since then, there's been so much controversy surrounding him since he gave all of his basketball and business operations over to his uncle, which I don't think family and business ever mix. No. That's just coming from me and my experiences. It really blows my mind. Now, there's been reports that says he has no interest in playing for Toronto whatsoever, and then 12 hours later that same day came out and said, no, he's open to the idea of playing for him. So I don't know where these reports are coming from, whether it's his family, whether it's his agent, whether it's Kawhi himself, because Leonard is a guy that has never talked to the media willingly in the past. He's a very quiet guy. He keeps to himself, even keeps away from his teammates. So this is very, very unusual, and I'm really wondering what was going through our general manager's head when he was making this trade. Obviously, this is great for the Spurs because Kawhi was going to leave either way. They're getting back a 4-time All-Star. Granted, it was in the Eastern Conference. Do I expect him to be an All-Star in the West? No. But are you getting a really, really good player? Yes. Are you getting a player that struggles shooting three-pointers? Yes. But this is a guy who has one of the best mid-range shots in the game today. He scores like no other. He's averaged 27 points per game in a season before. He's very capable, especially playing alongside LaMarcus Aldridge. The pick-and-roll game, pick-and-pop game is going to be very dangerous. And I think DeMar will thrive in that San Antonio system. I think that they'll develop his defense a little bit because he's never been much of a defender, but I think he'll fit in nicely. Pop already came out yesterday and said that he's happy to have DeMar on the roster, and we'll have to see what Kawhi is able to do in San Antonio, or not in San Antonio, in Toronto. And with that said, the Raptors are also getting Danny Green in that trade. The Raptors are swapping Danny Green for Jakob Poeltl, so the Spurs will get Poeltl, he's a decent big man. I think he's a Spurs type of guy. He'll go in there and he'll be a role player. He'll run the system, and Pop's going to be very happy to have him. But Danny Green, this is a guy that's but he's been in over 100 playoff games in his career. Very experienced, savvy veteran, 31 years old, great three-point shooter, which is what the Raptors need. He's also a great defender. Kawhi is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a great defender, the best in the game. So now you have to look at this team with those two on it, with an up-and-coming OG Anunoby. You have Serge Ibaka, who isn't what he used to be, but he's still a good defender. And then you have, Jonas Valanciunas, who's not the best defender, but he's still a solid 7-footer. So this could be possibly the best defensive team next year. Obviously, offense is going to be lacking, but if you have the best defense in the entire NBA and you're in the Eastern Conference, you're looking pretty good. So overall, I have mixed feelings on this trade, but I'm like you said, Tyson, I'm very, very upset with the way that they treated DeMar in this situation, and I really wish that they would have gone about it differently.
Not even a week ago, he pulled him into the office. They asked about a trade. They talked about it, and they said he was completely off the table. He was safe. There's no way he was being traded. I get he struggled in playoff games and big situations and whatnot, but to go in there and straight up, you know that deal's been in the works for weeks now. It wasn't something that just happened overnight after they had that talk. He went in there knowingly that he was getting ready to get rid of him and lied straight to his face, and that's just crappy. Other than that, the trade was just awful in general. Toronto didn't really come out with anything. Like, they got Danny Green. I think that's the best thing they got out of this situation.
Because Kawhi's going to walk at the end of this year.
You might get him to play some games, and that's a big might. We saw him sit out with San Antonio. He really doesn't care because he's not where he wants to be. I don't think he'll sit out a whole year again. He's not going to play 9 games. He'll play a couple games so he can still get that max contract and prove that he can still play. But there's no way he's going to play every game in another place that he doesn't want to be with an organization he doesn't care for.
Here's the thing, is that Kawhi, he wants a max deal, and he thinks that he deserves a max deal.
Oh, so he does.
Which he does, yeah.
He's not going to sit out he's not only going to play 9 games. And if he wants to get a max deal, he knows that he has to play this entire season. And he doesn't want to be in Toronto. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. No, and that's what I've been so adamant about, is that he doesn't want to be there. Why do you make this trade in the first place? That's what is so baffling to me.
That's why when we talked about this before, I was confident he wasn't getting traded. I didn't think there was a team stupid enough out there to go out and try and get him, because everybody knows he's not staying at the end of the year. They're thinking, if we have a really great season, maybe we can convince him because now we have the rights to offer him the biggest contract and all this crap. He doesn't – he cares about the money. He wants that max deal, but he's not taking it with Toronto. So the trade just absolutely blows my mind. It made no sense to me.
That's what gets me, is that he already passed up a $212 million contract with San Antonio. That extension is off the table. Any other team can only offer him like $140-something million. Mm-hmm. You've already lost $70-something million. Why would you think that he cares about that max deal with his new team that he got traded to? He's not going to sign that extension with Toronto. There is a 0.001% chance that he re-signs with this team, which is why the only reason he would re-sign is if they make it to the finals. If they maybe take 1 game in a series against Golden State, right, for whatever reason, because Kawhi is that good. He can shut down at least one player on the other team, guaranteed. Right. But is that enough? Is that
still a very large maybe?
Yeah, is that what Ujiri is going for in this situation, and thinking LeBron's gone, this could be the new LeBron of the East? Like, Kawhi could run the Eastern Conference. Is that worth more than living in Los Angeles, playing for the Clippers, playing for the Lakers, whoever it may be? Because there were reports that Kawhi didn't want to play with LeBron in Los Angeles. Instead, he would rather play for the Clippers, where he could have his own team. But if you're going to play for the Clippers, why waste your talent for a 4, 5, 6 seed in the Western Conference when you could be number 1 in the East every single year? That's going to have to be his pitch. And if he wants to get there, obviously he's going to have to play. And like I said, the bargaining agreement's going to come into play here, because I really think if he does play, I'm excited to have him on the team. I mean, you have a top 3 player in the entire NBA on your team. Toronto's never had that before. Granted, you really don't like him coming in and saying, I don't want to be here. Exactly. He wants to be in Los Angeles.
The thing with Kawhi is that they may have this entire team. They might have 5 conversations throughout the entire year. He doesn't talk.
No,
he will not go to the media unless he wants to. Because how many times has he been to the media during all of this stuff that's been reported about him with San Antonio?
Once.
How many times has he been to the media now with the Toronto Raptors? He's been there one time and he was in his suit, I think. Even if he's been there that many. So he's not going to talk. He doesn't want to talk. But going back off of that, the reason why he wants to be in L.A. and running that team with the Clippers is that he wants to be on Rodeo Drive. That's all it is. He wants to be in L.A. He wants to live that L.A. life, be in that L.A. sunshine. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why he wants to be there. I don't blame him for not wanting to be in Toronto, because he wants to be in Canada. It's cold. You know?
Yep.
Right.
I just don't understand why.
Well, see, this is what bothered me so much, is that you had a guy in DeMar DeRozan. Yes, was he a max player? Probably not.
Love the city.
Exactly. He loved it. Okay, he had the opportunity 2 years ago, and I expressed this to you guys throughout the week because I was so pissed off about this. You had a guy that had the opportunity to go back to Los Angeles 2 years ago. He said, no, I want to stay in Toronto. I want to make this my team. I want to make this city relevant again, right? He did. He put Toronto back on the map after years of mediocrity after Chris Bosh left. Right, even when Chris Bosh was there, I mean, the team was just subpar. I mean, they make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, right?
Right.
Gave the team their first Eastern Conference Finals appearance ever. Made it to the second round in back-to-back years. Hadn't done that since Vince Carter was there. Okay, it really baffles me. It's like, yes, he was making $28 million a year, but with the salary cap increasing year after year after year, you have expiring contracts next year. You have expiring contracts the year after, and then he still has a player option that you can pick up. Yeah, it's going to be over $30 million, but with that salary cap increase in these expiring contracts, you can put a team around him. Yes, he's not going to be the best player on a championship team, but if he's your second best, you're looking really good in that situation. And I really hope that he flourishes in San Antonio. I've followed him my entire basketball career, like as far as watching the NBA goes. I started watching it 6 years ago, and DeMar DeRozan is the sole purpose I started watching Toronto. And that's why they're my team. I love this guy. I have nothing but love for him. He's my boy. He's my boy, and I'm sad to see him go. And I hope he has a great rest of his career in San Antonio.
Well, not only did they get rid of a guy that loves his city and loved his organization and his team and would do just about anything for it, the city loved him back. DeMar was Toronto's guy. He was the only guy that Toronto fans care about more or less. That dude, like you said, he put them on the map. He'd have done anything for them, and they'd have done anything for him. That being said, San Antonio made out like bandits in this.
Oh, yeah.
They ditched Kawhi. They got 2 good players out of it. They got rid of Kawhi's contract. They're not keeping Kawhi. That hurts. That sucks. But they were going to lose him anyway,
Exactly.
so they traded him and got something good out of it. And I think DeMar actually makes San Antonio a contender-ish again in the Western Conference.
Oh, they'll be competitive.
Because without Kawhi, they weren't as competitive as they needed to be. With DeMar, they've actually got some solid players back on the team. I think they can take a 6 seed or 5 seed.
Well, see, that's the thing. Without Kawhi Leonard and the team intact, they were the 7th seed in the Western Conference. With DeMar DeRozan, I think you jump up to the 4 or 5 seed and actually be competitive. You can go to the second round. You can challenge, the actual championship level contenders. Now, people are going to make the argument, well, DeMar DeRozan's always crumbled under the pressure. No, he's crumbled under playing LeBron James. Now, if the San Antonio Spurs have to go up against the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round, yeah, they're not looking good.
No.
Because we know that's been DeMar and the Raptors' kryptonite for the past 4 seasons.
But then again, San Antonio's got those experienced guys that know what it's like to play against LeBron, and they don't care.
That's the thing.
So he's actually got some support around him now that I think DeMar's going to absolutely flourish in San Antonio, and it's going to be great.
Well, real quick, I know we didn't talk about it yet, but Tony Parker actually signed with the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, never mind.
He's gone. And now with Leonard gone, the entire core is diminished, at least starting 5. The only one that's left is Manu Ginobili, who we know is going to be coming off the bench. So this is an entirely new Spurs system that's going to be, I don't want to say system because Pop is the system.
Yeah, it's the same system.
But their championship team, no one's left anymore.
Right.
Manu's the only one. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. Now, DeJounte Murray is going to be handed the keys. He's going to be the point guard. You're going to have DeMar right there with him. and then LaMarcus Aldridge. That's going to be your three primary guys with Manu coming off the bench. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do moving forward. As far as Toronto goes, like I said, have the opportunity to be the best defensive team in the league because you play so many Eastern Conference teams. I mean, your starting five probably looking at Kyle Lowry, pretty good defender, although he's getting older. He can still guard the 1 and 2 spots. Then you're going to have Danny Green in there, really good defender, great 3-and-D guy. Then you got Kawhi Leonard, obviously the best defender in the game, defensive player of the year multiple times. You got OG Anunoby, who defended LeBron better than anyone else on that Raptors team as a rookie in that series, even though they got swept. And then you're looking at Serge Ibaka playing small ball 5. He's not what he once was in OKC, averaging 4 blocks a game, but he's still Serge. So that starting 5 to me, it's looking really good. I can't wait to see them hold teams to 80 points a game. That'll be fun, but the offense isn't going to be there. More or less, I'm looking forward to DeMar in San Antonio. I want to see what he's able to do. I want to see how his game further develops, being 28 years old already. So thank you, DeMar. Thank you. Toronto still loves you. I want you to know that if you're listening. I know you're not, but I need to get that out there.
So let's spin off of that. You touched on it for a little bit. In the NBA, we all know that it's a business. So loyalty, it all boils down. Is loyalty still left in the NBA? Is there any type of it at all?
No, there hasn't been any for years. Everybody's just leaving. They see all this money flying around. Everybody's getting their, and I don't blame them. Everybody's getting their paycheck. They don't give a crap about their organizations. The organizations are just trying to get the next best thing. So I totally agree. It's a business situation in most circumstances. But guys like DeMar, like I said, would kill for his city, and they're going to do that. That's a crap situation. And I get it's a business. But there has to be some kind of loyalty somewhere. When it's in the best for both organizations, player and team, to split and go their separate ways, I get that. Don't want to be loyal to them anymore. They not getting along, whatever. I get that. But as far as loyalty goes, no one gives a crap about anybody anymore. Everybody's either chasing a paycheck or chasing the next best thing and everyone's trying to stab you in the back.
This is how I would spin it, is that I don't think loyalty exists between the organization and the player, but I think loyalty rests between players and the cities and the fan base and that connection, because like you said, DeMar is a guy, and this is just the most prime example because this happened a couple days ago. He loved the fans, he loved the lifestyle, he loved Toronto, he loved the city. But the organization didn't or wasn't in love with DeMar anymore, and that's why they got rid of him. That's why they lied to his face. Now, to answer the question, no, I don't think it exists in that aspect. But, like I said, if you have a player that is loyal, because, like I said, he had the opportunity to go to Los Angeles. He said no. He wanted to stay, and he did stay. We gave him that max contract, and he said that he wanted unfinished business, pretty much. And that's what you want to hear from players. That's why we watch sports as fans. But as far as any organization in the NBA right now, I can't think of one that is loyal other than Golden State, if we're being honest. I mean, they kept Steph Curry, they kept Klay Thompson, they kept Draymond Green.
They went
and signed Kevin Durant. I know, I hate to say it because I can't stand the Warriors. I absolutely cannot stand Golden State because they're smarter than me. That's why I don't like them.
They're smarter than anybody in the entire league.
Yeah. And with that said, but I mean, you find a way to get Kevin Durant, you lure him in, and now you've kept him. This will be his third season there. You've been able to keep him on one-year deals consistently, similar to what LeBron did in Cleveland.
Speaking of Kevin Durant, I saw something on ESPN yesterday. Apparently, Kevin Durant, Draymond, and LeBron all went out to the bars in LA the other night. So just keep that in mind.
I don't even want to imagine any of them playing together.
I think you're trying to start stuff. Get out of my head.
Yeah, I can't deal with that right now. Jeez. Getting back on task here. Yeah, the Warriors probably the only team that I can think of that's has any loyalty in this league. But it's going to be really interesting next summer when Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant's contract comes up, and seeing which one of them wants to bounce. If they manage to keep both of them and they both want to cut their contracts in half, you know what? I mean, good on them. They've shown them that championships can keep players. And we've seen in the past, even if you win a ring, people still want to go chase the money. So,
well, because they got their ring, they got what they came for.
Exactly.
And now they don't care. Now they're after it for the paycheck. So.
Shout out Dexter Fowler.
And we'll see it with DeMarcus Cousins because I swear, I'll bet you my salary for the next year the Warriors win the title. I mean,
It's not a bad bet.
I'm
There's
serious,
nobody
man.
that can beat them.
No, none.
There's nobody that can beat them.
No, I mean, without DeMarcus Cousins, you had a very, very slim chance. And now, if he comes back even, like I said, 50% of what he was, you have no chance in hell of beating that team. None.
Plague of injuries, that's the only thing that could possibly stop the Warriors.
Even with a plague of injuries, I don't even
Maybe
think
just
they
a
can
plague
beat
and
them.
just kill them all.
Yeah, a plague would be about it. All right, guys, so we got one more trade. Melo and Dennis Schroeder. Melo's going to Atlanta for Dennis Schroeder in a first-round protected pick in 2019 or 2022?
I think it was 20. It was 2020, I thought.
2020.
2020 pick, yeah.
2020 protected first round. Hawks is going to waive Melo. So as everything I've seen, Houston's in the front running for Carmelo Anthony, which is a good thing for Golden State and LA because Melo will absolutely crumble that team. But anyhow, OKC saves $109 million in total because it saved $100 million in luxury tax and they had $9 million left to play with. So good for OKC. It's going to end up great for Atlanta too because they got Carmelo Anthony and they can just use him as a trade piece and they're going to waive him obviously. So.
Right. Well, if they're going to waive him, they can either use him as a trade piece or they can waive him. Now, if they say they're going to waive him, obviously we just got done talking about it. Doesn't mean that they're going to until the paperwork's done.
Right.
So
Which should be today, right?
It should be, and we'll get something later today because we're recording, 8:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but no, like you said, this is great for OKC because, I mean, yeah, they're getting a first-round pick. Yes, it's protected, but there's always that chance that you could retain that. Now, you're also getting Dennis Schroeder, who is a guy that's been wanting to get more playoff experience since the Hawks kind of crumbled in, 2016, I think, is when they started changing their team. Paul Millsap was like the only one left because Korver was gone, Carroll was gone, Teague was gone. So, that 60-win Hawk team, that was an anomaly for a 2015 season, I think, and then it was over. Now, having that said, I think Schroeder is going to be interesting playing alongside Russell Westbrook because we've seen how players go to OKC and then their careers kind of just dip. We've seen it with Oladipo and how he, was kind of
caged.
I couldn't really think of the word. That's a great analogy because when he went to Indiana, he opened up. He's an all-star, right? 20 points per
he's
game.
An animal.
He's amazing. So maybe this will be interesting to see because I'm not sure how many years are left on Schroeder's contract. We might want to fact check that because I have no idea. I can't remember if he signed a new deal or if he's still on the team extension deal. So we'll have to figure that out. But whatever the case, he's there for a year. And if he wants to be the backup point guard to Russell Westbrook, like they did in Reggie Jackson when Kevin Durant was there, because now they have Paul George. So if you can run, Roberson, Westbrook, Paul George, and then have Schroeder come off the bench like Melo wasn't able to do.
And play the 6 minutes that Russell Westbrook sits out.
Yeah, right. Because when they play together, I don't see... Go ahead, Cale.
So Schroeder would be an unrestricted free agent in 2021.
Okay, so he's got a couple years left on his or 3 years left on his contract. Okay, so that's really good for OKC if he's willing to accept that bench role. Because like I said, I don't see two ball-dominant guards, especially one as ball-dominant as Russell Westbrook, playing alongside each other and being successable. Now, when it comes for Carmelo Anthony, this is a win-win for him. Mm-hmm. He gets out of OKC. It wasn't a good situation for him. He's making $28 million. He's going to more than likely get waived by the Hawks, and he's going to go play with Chris Paul, his good friend in Houston, because that's really the only team that I can see this working out for. I can't see him signing with, LeBron in LA or taking that. The Warriors can't sign him now because they've signed DeMarcus Cousins, which I really wish that they would have signed Melo because that would have destroyed that team. And that's no disrespect to Melo. He's just at that point in his career where he's sharply declining, and he's not going to accept that he's declining. It's kind of like the Kobe Bryant before Kobe realized, oh wait, I can't play anymore.
Age.
It's Father Time's undefeated, and we know that.
So, like you said, it worked out great for Carmelo. He's still getting paid. He's still got traded. He's either going to get waived or he's got a free contract this year with another team. But he still gets to go play somewhere else and get another contract with somebody because I'm sure he's not going to just sign for a year or something with another team. So it's great for Carmelo. Works out just fine for him. Works out great for OKC because they got rid of something they didn't really want anymore, who didn't help them. And they got some stuff out of it. I'm just having a hard time trying to figure out why Atlanta took this trade because they had to get rid of their point guard, a first-round pick. They had to absorb Carmelo's salary, which even if they waive him, they still have to pay him. So I just don't really know why Atlanta would do that. So in that sense, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But go ahead.
The thing you're talking about that is that we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Atlanta told Dennis Schroeder that they wanted to build around him. They were his star guard, correct?
They did that last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they traded him.
Yeah, the very next year. And
we're going back to that loyalty thing again.
Well, yeah, but see, this is what it comes down to for me is that, they wanted to build around him, and they got guys like John Collins and Taurean Prince, Kent Bazemore. These are all good pieces, right? Even though Kent Bazemore's way overpaid. I still think he's a good player, good role player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have guys like that and you want to build around a young point guard, none of those guys can shoot. That's your problem. Bazemore used to be able to shoot threes, but Schroeder isn't a very good three-point shooter. John Collins sure as hell can't shoot threes. He's a big man. He's a 7-footer. And then you got Taurean Prince, who's a great scorer. He can't shoot either. So what do? They go out and draft Trae Young, and they say, bye, Dennis Schroeder. Why couldn't you just take a guy who likes to chuck up three-pointers and stick him next to Dennis Schroeder and then try to get his assist up or something? Have him work on his game. I really don't understand. Like you said, the only reason this trade makes sense for me is that Schroeder's making a little bit too much money that the Hawks would like, and they got rid of his contract. They gave him to a playoff team in the West, and like you said, they're going to have to absorb Carmelo's contract, but if they pay him out in stints, they only have to give him like $6 mil, $7 mil a year, depending on what they do. Now, yes, that's going to hurt their cap hold for the next few seasons, but that also opens up the door for them signing a player next year or someone to help out these young guys, because the Hawks are going to be bad. They're going to be really bad. I don't know if they'll be as bad as they were last year, but they're going to be pretty bad. I don't know what else to say about it. Good luck to Dennis Schroeder in OKC. I'm excited to see that.
I'm still laughing about that comment because they keep adding guys that can't shoot.
Well,
I'm still laughing about that.
That's what gets me is they had an opportunity to draft Luka Doncic in the draft, right? But they go up,
which they did, and they swapped him.
They swap him with Dallas.
All the great moves.
Yeah. And they swap him with Dallas for Trae Young. Okay.
Another guy who can't shoot.
Another guy who likes to shoot, but he can't shoot. So you went out and got another playmaker to pair up with another playmaker, and you traded a playmaker. When you could have had an all-around guy who can shoot, who can pass the ball, who can shoot the mid-range, who can score inside, great free throw shooter. I'm still scratching my head at that one. Atlanta, what are you doing?
It seems like they'd have better luck with a potato running that office right now, because it doesn't really seem like anything's going right for them right now. At least to me.
This is what gets me is their general manager used to work with the Warriors, and he thinks that Trae Young is the next Steph Curry. That's why they took him. Yeah, exactly. It's like if you really think that, please prove me wrong, because there's a lot of us, and I know us here definitely think that Trae Young is not Steph Curry. If you didn't know. So go ahead and move on with whatever plan that you have. But in the Eastern Conference, you needed a guy that can help you improve in the next couple seasons. And Trae Young is not that guy, because you don't have guys around him who are able to shoot the ball. Kent Bazemore is not your second man, right? Taurean Prince is not your second guy, especially not John Collins. And I love John Collins. He's an athletic freak, but he can't shoot a lick. So I'll be interested to see what Atlanta does this year. But they'll definitely be a bottom feeder in the East.
Yeah.
So let's move on. The Blazers, they beat the Lakers, who was the number 1 seed. Blazers were number 2, I believe, in the Summer League to bring home the Summer League championship. That Lakers team, Josh Hart got MVP of the Summer League. What do you think?
I love Josh Hart. I've always liked Josh Hart, especially after what I saw last year with how bad that Lakers team was. I think they were able to win 36 or 37 games. I can't remember. And they beat the Warriors a couple times, which is really interesting. And now that they've beaten the Warriors a couple times and they go out and add LeBron James, they're looking pretty good. And the Warriors won up that and signed DeMarcus Cousins. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But getting back to Josh Hart, this is an all-around guy. Decent three-point shooter. He's a guy that's able to dish the ball when he needs to. He's a great scorer inside, and he really plays really well off the ball. Decent defender. Playing alongside LeBron James, this is a guy that can really flourish, because LeBron likes playing with guys that are really good off the ball, really good setting those screens, really good running the baseline, getting those corner threes. I think Josh Hart is your man. Him getting the Summer League MVP, I'm not surprised, even though they did lose, come up a little short in the championship game. I think the Blazers were just all around a more or a deeper team as far as it comes to the bench, because they had obviously their stud in Zach Collins leading the way. But they had guys like Jake Layman and Caleb Swanigan that really pitched in, and a couple other guys. They looked pretty good throughout the entire summer league. You thought that they had a run at the trophy, and they did. As far as LA goes, coming up a little short. You had Kyle Kuzma look really good.
Yeah, he did.
I'm really looking forward to seeing him playing alongside LeBron. It's definitely going to be interesting. But no, Josh Hart, shout out to him for getting that summer league MVP, well deserved. And good luck this season in LA.
Yeah, not very often do you see the MVP go to a guy on the losing team. But it was for the whole summer league season.
Right.
And he performed extremely well in all their games. And like you said, he can do it all. He's an outstanding player, so well-deserved for Josh Hart. But the Blazers, they beat LA by, 20 points and 20-some points in the final game?
It was pretty bad.
But the Blazers, they played well all summer league. And you nailed it on the head. They've got a deeper team. They have more than just Josh Hart and Kyle Kuzma and a couple other guys that they got. They had all their guys firing on all cylinders all together at the same time. So the Blazers played extremely well. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year with some of those young pieces because they've got a pretty set starting roster right now. So I'm interested to see where they fill in some of those guys and how they use them because they all played really well in the Summer League. So it'll be interesting to see who they cut, who they keep, how they play them, where they play them, just to kind of mix it all in. But good job to the Blazers winning that Summer League. Good on them.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to talk about Wagner from Michigan that was drafted by LA. I would have liked to seen a little bit more from him, and I only saw him a couple times. But
my boy underperformed.
He has a highlight tape, obviously, from the Summer League, but I mean that's about it. I mean he's got a few dunks in there. He's got some nice fadeaways. I've seen him hit a 3-pointer over. I can't remember who he was playing. If it was Boston or, I don't remember. He hit a 3-pointer over someone. Just took one step into it, shot it right over the defender's head, and he was looking really good. But the box score really doesn't speak for what he did because you see him and it's like, wow, I really thought that he would have performed better. So maybe it's due to the lack of minutes. I don't have the stat sheet in front of me right now, so I couldn't tell you. But I really hope that he is able to improve because I think he could be a great piece next to LeBron James this upcoming season. If Coach Walton is able to, or whatever he's able to give him as far as minutes goes, as far as playing time goes. So I'm very interested to see how he's going to develop because we know that Michigan had that deep run in the NCAA tournament going all the way to the final game. So, that's really the last thing that I wanted to touch on. Wagner, looking forward to seeing him, just really underperformed in the Summer League for me.
So while we're on with the Lakers, there's been reports going around that one of their players was going to have knee surgery. We didn't know if it was true or not. In my opinion, I was thinking that it was just going to be a tactics. That way he would end up having to stay in LA because nobody was going to want him as a trade piece. Lonzo Ball ended up having arthroscopic knee surgery. If anybody knows what that means, please let me know because I've got no idea. So the report was true. I kind of feel bad for saying that it wasn't. So he did end up having to have knee surgery. Do you guys think that that's going to impact his season this year, or do you think he's young enough to real bounce back?
That's the procedure. They go in and clean it all out, right? They get rid of all the... Okay, that's what I thought. I don't really... I think he'll sit out a few games at the beginning of the season, so he won't play as many. He won't get as many minutes throughout the season. But I don't really care for Lonzo Ball. I think he's been a problem since he went to the Lakers. He's not the piece they were looking for. His dad brings too much drama.
And I think that's the biggest issue is his dad. So Lonzo himself is decent.
Not only do you have his dad now, but now you've got him that's not even going to be playing for a little bit. So you kind of get the double whammy on the negative end. Whammy! You're just getting smacked left and right by Lonzo Ball, and he's not even that good of a player to begin with. He's decent. He can shoot sometimes, but he's not even that great of a player. So I don't really think this is bad for the Lakers having to have him sit out for a while because of this surgery. Good for him. Maybe his knees will feel better and it'll help his shooting performance. But I just don't really see this being bad for the Lakers or good for Lonzo because they might realize they don't really need him.
Right, and I just want to say this is the exact same procedure that John Wall had earlier this year. So he was out for at least 3 months. So he's getting the surgery done. You said that was yesterday or?
It was a couple days ago.
A couple days ago. So he got it done this week. Now, if he gets it done this week and we go 3 months down the line, that's going to put us in October. Mm-hmm. So the season will be right around the corner, probably knocking on the door of the first game. Because they did push the NBA schedule up a week in October. It used to be around the 25th, 26th, and now they pushed it up even further. So with that said, I don't think that he'll start. He might miss a week of games, maybe 3 or 4. It all depends on how quickly the Lakers want him back, because they have Rajon Rondo, very capable starting point guard, played outstanding down the stretch for New Orleans last season, played great in the playoffs alongside Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis is a very, very, very good player, but he's not LeBron James. So if you wanted to go ahead and start Rondo, I don't see why you wouldn't do that. Lonzo was your guy moving forward, but he missed a lot of time last year with injuries. His dad is – I don't even want to go down that road right now. We all know, and everyone knows how we feel about LeVar. He called Rajon Rondo a backup to Lonzo Ball. I still can't get over that. I still can't get over that. Maybe like 5 years from now when Rondo decides to retire LeVar. But no, I think that if you have Rondo starting and Lonzo still in recovery, I don't see why that would be an issue. It's currently July 20th, so games would have started if we go 3 months from now, because we put us on October 20th. Games would be starting. So that comes down to the Luke Walton's call. So we'll have to see.
Luke Walton is a phenomenal coach too.
Oh, he is. Yeah, very underrated.
Just like Brad Stevens.
Very underrated. Well, I wouldn't put them on the same level, but
he's getting there.
He's a very good coach. I'll give him that, because I think he is underrated.
I'm just excited to see too. I'm glad you brought him up. Is how's he going to do with LeBron this year?
Well, I think he inherited a kind of crap team when he came from Golden State.
And he's improved every year.
Exactly. And we're starting to see that. Now he's actually got some talent on his roster. We'll kind of see where that goes. Speaking of guys on there, do they still have Brandon Ingram?
Oh, yeah.
So they can
didn't get rid of any of their
They can play
pieces.
him instead of Lonzo, too. And I think Ingram's a great piece. I think he can play. They've had some personal issues with him in the locker room and whatnot, so I know they don't always get along. But I think he's a great player, and I think he's still a better option than Lonzo is.
Yeah, I would say any one of those young guys, whether it's Kuzma, Ingram, or Lonzo, I would take those two over him any day. And that's mostly because he can't shoot.
Yep.
Okay, and not only that, I don't like his dad, and I hate to take it out on the player, but I really can't say. If he would just shut up.
Yeah, his dad's ruining his image bad.
I wouldn't care if he would just shut up. That's all I want.
I wouldn't mind LeBron running the point and just saying piss on all of that, and just having a couple smaller big guys and just running small ball 5-man.
Put Mo Wagner down there.
I mean, yeah, you could do that. We'll see where he comes out with his playing time after his summer league performance. I would love to see him play.
Me too.
Actually, no. Now that you say that, I would love to see LeBron run the point, and then you could bring in Lance Stevenson, and then you could have Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and then I guess whoever you wanted your fifth to be. I don't know who else. Because you could have Wagner down there.
Wagner.
You could, or Wagner might play, but I think that they're going to go with Zubac at the 5 spot, just because he's been there for so long.
Experience.
So we'll see. But like I said, going back to, I would like to see Wagner get some minutes. But yeah, definitely excited to see how the Lakers do this season. I know we all are. Now moving on, we're going to get into the MLB. Breaking news, if you haven't heard, get out from under your rock. The Machado trade talks and where he's going to go, speculation, all that, it is over. Manny is headed to the bright lights of Los Angeles playing for the Dodgers. How do you boys feel about this?
I'm going to say one thing real quick.
What time?
You're a big NBA guy,
yep.
Right? All right. Baseball, all right. Your NBA, your league, took away one day that I get. And that is the day after the All-Star game when all these trades happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened the day after that All-Star game? Kawhi and DeMar completely shoved this trade under a rock.
Oh, it did.
I didn't even hear about it on the radio till like 5 or 6 o'clock. Because all day I was hearing about Kawhi and DeMar.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest trade of this offseason, or this free agency season. We didn't even hear about it till 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
See, it's real funny that you say that, because I was listening to The Herd and Colin Cowherd, and he said the exact same thing that you're saying right now, is that the NBA and all the summer now, not just the summer league, but NBA transactions, the summer used to be all about the MLB.
Yep.
It used to be baseball. And the past couple years, the NBA has started to push everything back and that's all people are talking about. Like I said, it still is the NFL.
That's something I'm going to talk about.
The
later,
NBA is
too.
pushing everything out of everything. As soon as NFL season starts, the NBA is kicking up back up again, and I feel like I lose out on my football. And then NBA runs the same time as hockey, if not longer most of the time. So no one gives a crap about hockey, and then they're overtaking baseball now. They're just killing everything, and
I hate
they're just taking over. They've taken in the past 10 years.
Still not
they've just
even the
been
most
growing.
watched sport.
Yeah, which is crazy. Well, worldwide, it possibly might be because I think NBA, that brand, especially in China, they go nuts over the NBA in China. Japan has some influence over there in Europe. Those guys, they love the NBA because they want to come to America and prove their worth. Guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki, Manu Ginobili, those guys, right? Well, Manu's from Argentina, but that's besides the point.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely understand.
But going to the Machado trade, fantastic for Baltimore for one reason. They got their top 5 prospects out of it.
Yep.
So they put them down in the league. They put them down in their farm system. They can bring them up, put them right away, sign them to a deal, the rookie deal, whatever. Who cares? It's a good deal for Baltimore. Flip the rebuild switch. Machado's gone. Just flip it. Get it over with. Get it started right now because I want to remember the Orioles from when the Cal Ripken was there. That's what the Orioles, what I want to see the Orioles do. When it comes to the LA standpoint, they got a rental shortstop. Seager's going to be back next year. They're not going to sign Machado next offseason. This isn't going to happen.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they
too
do
expensive.
Seager?
He's going to be too expensive. Seager's younger than Machado. He hits just as well, and he's more athletic. In my
Just
opinion.
as well.
But who's younger?
Seager is.
Okay.
Seager is. The only issue with Seager is that he's so young, but he's coming off that Tommy John issue as a shortstop. That's the only problem. They could sign Machado to a full-year deal. What would they do is Seager? Dump him? They'd have
Leave
to.
Seager, put Machado at 3.
All right, fair enough. But anyway, I personally don't feel like Machado's going to be in LA next year unless they win a title. If they win the World Series World Series, then they will probably keep him. But this is what LA needed. They needed somebody to put them over the edge because they've been teetering on that fence all year, and they have been for the last, 4 now? So they finally got a superstar player to add with the rest of these guys because, they got Turner, they got Bellinger, they got everybody else. But Machado is a well-known superstar. Machado is one of the guys that you hear about all year with Trout, with Bryant, with Judge. So
You just haven't heard about him this year.
and he plays for
the
the
Orioles, right?
But you still hear about him. And the only reason why he's talked about so much is because everybody knew he wanted out of Baltimore. But he got out of Baltimore. He got to Hollywood, joined the Hollywood Bombers. So good for Machado. I'm kind of nervous about the Dodgers now because he might just give them that little bit of a spark.
Well, they finally got that piece, like you said, that they've been needing. Something to kind of give them a little bit of spark. They did this. They knew they were losing a lot out of those top 5 prospects. But they got that guy, like you said, tips them over the edge. They are in win-now mode. They don't care what happens 2 years down the road. They want to win now. They're tired of getting there and getting crapped on. So win now, and Machado absolutely gives them that, gives them power, outstanding power. I think he's got 26 home runs so far this year. Great on the bases, great on the defensive field, makes outstanding plays all over. He fills in the hole that they had with Seager being down. Like you said, he might not be there next year, but they honestly, I think LA could care less because they won. They won the Machado trade. They beat everyone this summer, and that gives them the piece that they've been looking for a while.
They beat New York, the Yankees. They beat the Cubs. They beat the Brewers. All 3 of them guys.
And the Phillies.
And the Phillies. All 4 in contention.
Yep.
So
Yeah, well, real quick, I want to say, though, is I think this was great, not only for both the teams, I think this was great for Manny.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he's out of Baltimore, obviously, but putting him in that situation, he's in LA. Who doesn't want to be in Los Angeles, right? If you're going to get traded and you're going to go to a contender, that was probably his top choice, other than maybe New York, right? Mm-hmm. So this is great for him. I mean, I'm like you. I'm very, very worried about the Dodgers now.
The Dodgers are the Cubs' kryptonite. Even though we beat them in the past, I still get concerned about the Dodgers every postseason when we gotta play them. I don't know about you. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a question that I want to ask: is with Machado now on the Dodgers, how much does this increase their chances of winning the World Series?
It drastically increases their chances of winning their division. Of winning the World Series, I wouldn't say it's as drastic of an improvement. They still got to beat Boston or New York out there in the East from what it's looking like, and both those teams are playing really, really well. So it definitely improves their chances, but they got to get through the Cubs. They got to get through Boston or New York, like I said. They've still got some stepping stones that they got to get over, some hurdles that they need to climb. But it definitely does increase their chances by a lot.
I'll be able to tell you next Friday what their World Series chances look like when I see Machado get out there and play for a full week. He gets this series, 5-game they got out there this weekend under his belt, gets himself acquainted with the city, with the team, with the club, front office, everybody. I'll be able to give you a little bit better prediction on that as the week goes on.
Is there another team in the National League besides the Chicago Cubs that could challenge the Dodgers in the playoffs?
Phillies won. I feel like the Braves could as well.
Yeah.
They're not bad. They got Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, Mike Moustakas.
Mike Moustakas.
Thank you. They got a decent pitching staff too, as well as a decent bullpen, which is what you need in the MLB to win games. Obviously, you need pitching. But I feel like the Braves can give them a run. I feel like the Phillies could give them a run, but the Phillies won't end up playing them round one. It'd more likely be, obviously, somebody out there out west. But if it got deeper into the playoffs, the teams that I feel like could take them down would be the Braves or the Phillies. They'd have the best option or best chances.
If the Brewers can keep from crashing, I could see the Brewers give them a little bit of a run if they can figure out their starting rotation situation. Because their bullpen is outstanding. Their batters are hitting off the charts right now. Offensive-wise, they have no problem. And as far as the back half of their rotation goes, they're great. But their starting 5 aren't performing as well as they should be, which it hasn't really mattered so far this year because the bullpen's been picking them up, coming in hot, throwing strikeouts, just getting everybody out left and right. So I think the Brewers might possibly give them a run if they don't dump off like we know the Brewers can do every year.
What does this mean for the Arizona Diamondbacks out west?
Oh, this is bad. This is bad for them. This pretty much seals the fate of that division out there.
Like I said, it drastically increases their chances in their division. I don't think any other team has a chance of winning that division. Wild card spot, maybe.
Right. Now, obviously, we know that the Dodgers are that the division's sealed, like we talked about earlier. But I want to know, like you said, what are the chances of Arizona getting one of those wild card spots now that they have to play Dodgers with Manny Machado on the roster?
Slim to none, because I feel like the Brewers are going to get it. If it's not the Brewers, it's going to be the Phillies, or not the Phillies. It's going to be
whoever gets second in the East.
The Braves, probably. Braves or Phillies. It's going to be one of them guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have them getting a wild card spot. That's just me.
They could slip in there. I think they're probably going to lose most of their games to the Dodgers in the back half of the season anyway. So I don't think this changes too much on that end. They might lose 1 or 2 more. It'll make it a little bit closer race, a little bit tighter. But I think they've still got a chance of slipping in there along with the Rockies. One of those teams, if they can pull some stuff together, go on a couple hot streaks, they could definitely slip in up underneath the Brewers or the Braves or someone like that.
Before we move on to the All-Star break and the game and the home run derby and that stuff, I want to get one more question about Colorado. Now that the Dodgers have pretty much sealed this division, Arizona, they could continue their cold streak. Colorado's on a 6-game win streak right now. If they take over that second spot, what are the chances that they are able to get a wild card spot? I guess the question I want to ask is, who has a better chance of getting that wild card spot? Is it the Diamondbacks or is it the Rockies?
If the Rockies can pass the D-backs in the next couple days, week or so, if they can jump up into that second spot, I think they'll maintain it. I think they'll get that little boost of confidence. I think they'll ride the high and take it all the way and ride it into that playoff spot. If they can't get it soon, I don't think they will. Right now, I think it's kind of ride or die with the Rockies. That they either get it or they don't. So if Arizona can hold on to that spot, start winning some games, I think they've got a chance of slipping in. If Colorado can overtake Arizona, get that confidence, I think they've got a good chance of getting that wild card.
Considering the fact that Colorado has the Diamondbacks tonight, throughout the weekend, starting tonight, they got them the rest of the weekend. Whoever wins this series, I'll be able to tell you. I feel like if whoever wins this series, I'll be able to give you a better opinion of.
How many games?
It's 3 games.
3 game series.
It's Friday through Sunday. But the Dodgers too this weekend, they also have Milwaukee. So
okay. That's going to be a good one.
That's going to help the NL Central a little bit.
Yeah.
Whoever's in first, which obviously the Cubs are now have a 3-game lead for first in the NL Central, and they're 18 games above 500. with 31 comeback wins this season, the most in the league. But like I said, the second half of the year is when baseball fires up. We got 11 days before the trade deadline.
Yep.
So I have a feeling there's going to be one more big trade before the deadline. I don't know who it is. Whether it's Josh or Jacob deGrom. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's heating up. It's going to be hot, and especially this year because there are so many teams in contention or for playoff spots. There hasn't been this many teams in the running for a playoff spot in a long time. So it's going to be really exciting the second half of the year.
Okay, let's go ahead and segue into the All-Star break. Let's start with the home run derby and Bryce Harper. He went ahead and took it home in his home city of Washington, beating out Kyle Schwarber for the championship, hit 9 straight home runs to come back and win it with that last one in the final 30 seconds of granted time. What did you guys think about this? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Tyson, because I know that you called this.
I did. I picked Bryce Harper, as you guys remember from last week's episode. And I'm not going to brag on that too much, but you guys can suck it. Because I thought this was a pretty clear choice, and I'm proud that I made it and you two didn't. Good on Bryce. He needed a little pick-me-up, and I think this was it. Came out, put on a show for those fans. Absolutely outstanding. I love the red, white, and blue get-up he was wearing all night. Dude looked outstanding. His hair was great.
America.
Yeah, it wasn't smothered in a hat or nothing today. He left it up in that headband. Looked awesome.
It's Tyson's man crush.
I'm just saying. But I think he kind of lucked out. And I say that because Kyle Schwarber had to bat first in all 3 rounds. Bryce Harper batted second in all 3 rounds. That being said, Kyle Schwarber had to hit as many as he could every round or else. Bryce Harper got the luck of the draw batting second because he was a higher seed. Good on him. He had a better season up to that point in home runs, so he got that higher seed. Well deserved. But he only had to hit 13 home runs in the first and second round, where Schwarber had to put up 16 and 21. So he was a little bit more gassed, and then he had to go out and absolutely just swing the bat in that last round against Harper, who was the favorite at that point. So Harper was coming off a little bit more fresh. He knew what he had to get to instead of just going for it, so it was a little bit easier on his head. So I think he lucked out, but good on Bryce Harper. It was good to see a future Cub beating a present Cub.
One thing you said about Bryce Harper, did anybody look at the size of his dad's arms?
Boy, that guy has some pipes.
They were the size of basketballs. They were huge.
Yeah.
But anyway,
when they told me, real quick, I just want to say, when they told me it was his dad out there, I didn't believe it.
No, me either.
There's no way. It blew me away.
When I watched that, and that dude picked that trophy up, put it above his head, and
he
his
couldn't
sleeves.
Put his arms above his head hardly.
His arms were so big they couldn't go above his head. But anyway, you picked it. I kind of figured that was the case, but I saw my boy Kyle Schwarber in there. I had to pick him from Middletown, Ohio.
Close second. Good choice.
Also from Indiana University.
ILL. But anyway, Schwarber put on a stellar performance. If he did not have to hit 21 home runs in that second round in 4 minutes, that would have been a completely different ball game. Because Schwarber going into that final round against Bryce Harper, one of the home run leaders in the league, he didn't have a chance. He was gassed, and he didn't hit a home run for that first minute. So then last 3, man, he was just swinging and crushing balls left and right still while he was completely out of juice. But no, I agree with you. Good for Harper. Good for a future Cub and a present Cub because I'm excited to see Bryce Harper in Chicago next year. Even though, and hopefully his attitude holds up and he doesn't walk to first base. But that's another issue. But good for Bryce. Did he cheat? No, he didn't cheat. I'm glad they let him go. 9 home runs in 35 seconds, 40 seconds.
Intense.
He was just cracking them left and right. And that's the thing, is that a lot of people are saying that he cheated, but like Tyson and I talked about, and Gavin off air about less than an hour ago.
Yeah.
He was hitting them balls so high that they weren't going to land.
Everybody knew they were going out of the park
as soon as he hit them. I mean, there was no question about it. It looked like a few of them were going over that scoreboard out there.
And he wasn't the only one doing it either. The rule is that the ball has to hit the ground or be touched by a fan before you can throw another ball and swing at it. And I get that, but they were pretty close most of the time. It's not like they were throwing one after the other. They were close.
And there's an umpire back there.
And everybody was doing it. Yeah, the umpire behind home plate was literally telling the pitchers when they could and could not throw. They did get a warning one time, and then they slowed down and they kept it good after that. But everybody else was doing it. I noticed it real bad with Rhys Hoskins, which good on him. Dude absolutely came and performed. Insane performance from Hoskins out of the Phillies. Also taking down Gavin's pick, Jesus Aguilar, the number one, the clear favorite.
First round.
Down in the first round, hit 10 home runs?
I think. Maybe.
Hey, Aguilar, it's my fault you lost because whoever I pick usually ends up going out.
I'm glad you didn't say Harper or Schwarber then.
Yeah, that's my fault.
But as far as him cheating, I don't think that's really relevant. Anybody that's saying that's just a little bitter, I think.
Well, and even if he did, are you really going to call out the home player?
Right.
No,
he's out there putting on a show.
Right. Now let's go ahead and move on to the actual All-Star game itself here. The American League, woo! They took out the National League in the top of the 10th inning. 10 total home runs in this game. They took it in the top of the 10th, 10-8 was the final score, and that was due to the Astros Springer and Bregman's solo shots, and then the National League just couldn't recover after that. What did you guys think of the game overall?
I'm going to say one thing real quick. Did you know that the only run not scored that wasn't by a home run was Gene Segura? Yeah, on that sac fly in the 7th inning, 6th inning. That's unreal. All them balls that were flying out of there. It was a good home run night. It was
a good home run derby.
It was it was hot, humid. Balls were flying out. So that's what hitters want, hot and humid. But too, when Judge hit that first one right up there off of the second pitch, I knew that was going to start just an onslaught of home runs. But man, that ball was gone. He crushed that. But no, it sucks that the NL lost again.
6 straight.
6 straight. We can't get home field advantage for the World Series. That kind of sucks again. But whatever.
Well, I think if Chicago makes it, that's a good thing for them. They seem to play better away.
Or LA, too.
Yeah.
I think the reason the NL lost this game is because there was only 2 Cubs that played in it. If we would have had more Cubbies out there, it might have turned out a little bit different. Just wanted to throw that out there. But, yeah, AL's won 6 straight, which hasn't really transformed into the World Series wins. But it's good for them, gives them a little bit of an advantage. They've now taken the official tie over the series. The AL's now up 44-43 in 2 ties.
Yep.
So they're officially 1 game ahead, 6 straight. 10 home runs is the most ever in an All-Star game. The previous high total was 6. So they not only did they beat it, but they blew it out of the water.
Which that was back in the McGuire-Sosa area, I think.
It's actually that mark of 6 has been hit 3 times before that, I think. So a couple times.
Almost doubled in one game.
But 10 home runs, that's as much as Aguilar had in the home run derby. So
he was not going to let off that, man.
So it's just nuts. It was a really fun game to watch. It is very exciting, especially because it went to extras. NL was down 3 in the bottom of the 9th, came back and tied it. Made it really intense, really fun to watch. So good game.
Javi got up there on his first second pitch. Chris Sale, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take a single off you here. Then Contreras comes up there, 2 Cubbies. Imagine this. Contreras comes up, bam, gone. Third pitch of the AB. So the Cubs went in there, they performed, showed everybody that the comeback Cubbies are nothing to be messed with because we can win. They hit off one of the best pitchers in the league. Chris Sale is one of the best pitchers in the league. That's the thing with the AL versus the NL is that the AL by far has better pitching.
Oh, yeah.
But the NL has better players in general. Because name a couple other players besides the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees and Judge and Giancarlo and Betts and them guys and Trout. So therefore, but they're all spread around the league. As the NL, they got Turner, they got Javi, they got Contreras. You can name a lot more in NL than you can in the AL. Now, that could just be because we're NL baseball fans.
Right.
But anyway, like you said, good All-Star game. Glad the All-Star weekend in the MLB is way better than the NBA, in my opinion. It's more fun, more interactive. It's not about me, it's about we, because you can see that in the home run derby.
Well, that and they give you an incentive to play for something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing,
important.
Is that you get home field advantage in the World Series. Right. Where in the NBA, let's go out here and score 180 points a game.
Right, and that's why you saw one game go to almost 200 to 200.
Exactly, and that's sad. It's a joke. I'm not meaning to knock your league.
I can't stand it.
The only thing interesting to me in the NBA All-Star Week is the dunk contest.
Which is always fantastic, yeah.
That's it.
Well, and that's the thing is the skills challenge used to be cool, but they kind of it's a gimmick now.
Yes,
and I don't really get into it as much now. If they would, get you to play for something. Be like, hey, if you win, get a $5 million bonus.
Something
for one of those guys that's not on a big contract. That they're going to play the hardest to get that, but they don't have any incentive. The All-Star game, yeah, it's a joke. They tried to spice it up with LeBron and Curry drafting players this year,
which I get that.
It would have been fun had it been televised, but the fact that they did it off air really just kind of sucked all the fun out of it.
That's something I'd have been interested in watching too.
Well, that's why I think the MLB would be more fun. Now, this is coming from someone who obviously doesn't follow it as closely as you two, but if they just did away with teams like the NBA did this year, and they put obviously you still take as many All-Stars from the National League and the American League, put them in a pool, and then have them go to separate teams and have them play with each other.
I agree with that to an extent. At the same time, you lose the incentive of the All-Star game, and that's the home field advantage. I like that idea, but at the same time, I'm a traditionalist.
Right.
I want to see it stay the way it is right now.
I do like the idea of the draft for both of the leagues, though. Someone picking, because I'm a sucker for drafts. I just like watching them. I like seeing who goes where and whatnot. So I'd watch that.
It's an unknown factor that plays into the human instinct that you love watching. You're just kind of drawn into it.
Well, you have Trout draft one, and who would draft it? Bryce Harper. There you go.
Well, see, that's the NHL did this really interesting incentive, and they've been doing it for the past few years. The All-Star game, if you are the last one picked in the NHL All-Star draft, you get a car.
Right.
Like you're granted a car.
Yeah,
so, there's been there's been guys that have shown up with cardboard signs that says, "Do not pick me. I need a ride." So, I mean, if you have cool gimmicks, not something that's lame, not something that's stupid, right?
Contract bonuses, vehicles,
stuff like that. Make it fun.
You got the money to throw around. Why not spend it? Give the fans, give the people watching a show, give the players something to play for. Make it interesting for everybody.
Exactly. Don't just make them show up and act like it's a pickup game from a bunch of 14-year-olds. Like that's not really that interesting to watch. But let's go ahead and move on here. We need to get in something that Cale, I know that you were adamant about touching on here. Is the MLB commissioner Rob Manfred said that the LA Angels All-Star Mike Trout has a marketing problem, and that is why his brand isn't more popular. Trout came out and said that there's no beef between the two, but do you and Tyson see a problem with the commission calling Trout out on this?
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, good, because this is going to kind of tie into something here. When you look around the MLB, you look at guys like Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant.
Yep.
Chris Bryant's partnered with Red Bull. Bryce Harper's partnered with T-Mobile. Jose Altuve, 5 Hour Energy. Those guys are building their brand.
Bryce Harper, Gatorade.
Yep. Mike Trout, building his brand with kids, 6-year-old kids. He brings kids into batting practice for hours on end. Plays catch with them when he's out there warming up in center field in the stands. For people to say that Mike Trout, the greatest player in the MLB right now, currently as we see it, at least I see it, say that he's not working hard enough to build his brand in his off time. When it's his off time, he gets paid to do whatever he wants in his off time. For Rob Manfred to say that he's not working hard enough to build his brand, to build the sport of baseball, is BS. Rob Manfred himself needs to help Mike Trout build his brand. Look around the rest of the professional sports in the NFL. What do? They televise the hell out of everything. Look at the WNBA. Look at the NBA. Look at all the sponsorships, the donations, everything. Why can't Rob Manfred get this through his thick skull that he needs to help these guys out? It's not all about, okay, Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant, Mike Trout. You guys need to go out and do everything yourself. That's what you need to do. No, that's not how it works. The MLB doesn't help these guys market. Yes, they need to use their names, use their power, use their abilities, their skill set to build their brands. I understand that. But at the same time, the NFL, they help them guys out. You know what I mean? There's no help.
I would say to an extent.
But there's no help in the MLB. There's none. You have to use your name.
NFL's got the NFL Play 60 and things like that they promote certain players and get them on their own commercials, where the MLB doesn't have that.
Mike Trout is the single player in the MLB that people who don't follow it or even care about baseball can name him.
Everyone knows Mike Trout.
Everybody knows Mike Trout. There aren't very many people who know Bryce Harper because of what he doesn't do much in the community. But that could be argued because he does help, orphans and everything else, which is fantastic. I love when players do that. They use their time and resources to help people that need it. But for Rob Manfred to say that he does not market himself enough as a player when he is out here playing catch with kids, bringing kids onto the field, is absolutely absurd. It's uncalled for. It's ridiculous. It's not helping the sport of baseball. It's hurting the sport of baseball more than anything else. The last thing I'm going to say about it is why the LA Angels said what they said. They had his back. They needed to have his back. Mike Trout does everything for everybody. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He's humble. He's genuine. You heard it during the All-Star game when they were doing the in-game interviews with him. You know, for him to say, Rob Manfred to say all this about Mike Trout, his superstar, somebody that Rob Manfred himself should be building the game of baseball off of instead of shoving it in the corner, one of the least growing sports in the world, is just, I don't get it. It's baffling.
Now, I don't 100% disagree with you, but I'm pretty darn close. I really don't see this as him calling. I don't see it as Manfred calling out Mike Trout. I think he's absolutely right. Mike Trout could be the most popular guy in the United States if he could. Everybody knows who he is, but he doesn't put himself out there as much as he should. Now, to say that the MLB should help Mike Trout out, I kind of agree with. He's your superstar. He's making you money in jersey sales and things like that, but he could be making you a lot more if you helped him out. But at the same time, Rob Manfred's got a league to run with 30 teams with hundreds of players. That's showing. If he helps out Mike Trout, he's got to help out every other player in the MLB, and he's got enough on his plate already running the league. And I didn't really see it as him calling out. He's just saying he's not as popular as he could be, which is absolutely true. If that guy would go out, if he got himself an agent to do that work for him, so he could still have his off days and his agent could just do things, I just don't see this as Manfred's problem. I think he's presenting you a fact, and I think everybody overreacted a little bit. Mike Trout doesn't promote himself enough. He is out there playing catch with the kids when they're in between innings. He does bring kids into batting practice, and which is absolutely great. But off the field, he doesn't do enough for himself, and I just don't see that as being Manfred's problem. And I didn't really see it as him calling him out. I think he's just pointing out something, that this dude could be the most popular guy in the United States with how he plays, with what he does on the field, in between innings, playing around with the kids. He's a great dude, absolutely outstanding, humble, plays the game of baseball like it should be. He's absolutely great on the field, off the field. He just doesn't do enough to show that off the field. And to say that the MLB has to help him out to promote himself, I think it's a little ridiculous, like I said, because there's hundreds of players. You would have to help out everybody. Hey,
real quick, I just want to say, I think Trout is the person that he is, and him being so humble. I think it's to his own fault. Right. You know, it plays off of what you guys were saying, really what you were saying, Tyson, in that he does everything himself. If he would get an agent to do any of his marketing work, any of his off the field,
get him some ads,
marketing, his marketing,
some campaigns to get himself some extra
his other endeavors away from baseball,
building his brand.
Right. If he would get someone else to do that, he would be in great shape, like you guys said. But I think that Trout he's just the kind of guy that wants to be there for everything. He wants to handle it his own way, on his own terms, and he doesn't want someone else speaking for him, which he seems like that kind of guy. Even though he is a very nice, approachable individual, I think he's a guy that likes to handle his own issues or his own endeavors, like I was saying, by himself, and it's to a fault.
Well, and going off that humility, he's going to get paid on the field with what he does every day.
That's where his money, and that's where the MLB, needs to push.
Right.
His on-the-field marketing. Right there. He's the best player of our generation right now.
And
Why can't they use that like LeBron that does in the NBA?
Right. I think that's what this call-out is. It was kind of a wake-up saying, hey, why don't you help us out a little bit, give us some more jersey sales, help promote yourself, and maybe we'll get you a little something. I think it's just kind of he's just putting it out there. But he's going to get paid on the field, whether he's just going to. That's a fact. What he does off the field, I just don't really think he cares about it because he's making enough money on the field, and he is humble. He doesn't care to put his name out there. He doesn't want to be this huge all-star, big head. Everybody knows who he is. He's not going to just turn into some cop-out like LeBron. Hey, drink a Sprite. He just don't care, man. He's getting paid. He's doing what he wants to do. He's still doing good things. He's just not promoting it, and I don't really see a problem with that.
Well, and one last thing I want to add is, and no knock against Mike Trout or the LA Angels, but if his team was better, it would be easier to promote him.
Amen.
Do you know what LA does with Mike Trout? Butts and seats. They have the best player of our generation.
Yes.
Just like Cleveland did last year in the NBA.
Yeah,
best
Baker
player of our
Mayfield.
generation. Get out of here. Butts and seats.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yep.
Okay,
No.
so he plays for a shit organization. Crap organization. Why?
A little slip
Sorry.
up there.
Why? I don't know, man.
Look, this is what gets me. Yes, you can fill the seats, but there's only so many seats to fill. What I'm trying to say is
40,000 of them.
Listen, if I understand, if the Angels were better, your advertising for that team could be a lot better. That's all I'm trying to say. And if your advertising is better, you can reach a lot more than 40,000 people. Not to say that that's not great money, because I'm sure whoever owns the Angels is making great money. Mike Trout's making great money because he gets a percentage of those jersey sales. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids, a lot of people our age rocking those Mike Trout jerseys, even if you're not a baseball fan. But that's all I wanted to touch on, is that if the Angels were better, it would help. I'm not saying anything against his reputation, but it would help, generate some revenue if the team was performing at a level to which they probably should have been at by this point.
Agreed. 100%.
All right. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for us today. If you like what you heard, please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that bell icon to the right so you don't miss a beat. Go ahead and leave us a comment. Tell us how we did, what you liked, what you didn't like. Go ahead and give us some suggestions for future topics, and we'll go ahead and see you next time. Don't forget to go ahead and follow us on our social media at sports_twin on Twitter, and we'll go ahead and see you next time. My name's Gavin Campbell. That's Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming.
Peace.